thanks for watching the video. If you could do me and the channel a favor, hop down to the comment section and let me know what decks you guys want me to make next. And while you're down there, if you could drop a like and subscribe, it'd help out a lot. With that being said, enjoy the video and have a great day. What's up everybody, welcome back. Today we are going over a Tinkaton EX deck list here, so let's hop right into it. This one's loads of fun, and I have a feeling it's going to be a fan favorite. So obviously our main attacker is going to be Tinkaton EX. We do only play 2 copies of this Tinkaton. It has 300 HP, it is a stage 2, and we're going to look to use the Big Hammer attack, which for 2 colorless deals 30 damage for each card in your hand. And it also has Pulverizing Press, which for 1 Psychic and 2 colorless deals 140 and isn't affected by any effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. So with that Pulverizing Press, we can hit around walls like Mimikyu and stuff. So really nice to have that in there. So we got the 2 copies of Tinkaton EX here. Another Tinkaton line we have 2 of the non-EX Tinkaton with Gather Materials. This Pokemon has 140 HP. And Gather Materials lets us discard a card from our hand to draw 3 more. So a really powerful draw engine. And then for 1 Psychic and 1 colorless, Special Hammer deals 90 damage, but if it has a special energy attached, it deals another 90 damage. So 180 total when you have a special energy on there. Then we got 2 Tinkatuff with Play Rough and 4 Tinkatink, so we can evolve up into our Tinkatons with the help of some rare candies here and there. Then we got a 3/3 line of Dunsparce and Dudunsparce in here for Runaway Draw, which is once during your turn you may draw 3 cards. Doing so lets you shuffle Dudunsparce and all cards attached back into your deck. I opted for 3 of these Free Retreat Dunsparce. There is a 70 HP one that has a Find a Friend attack that we might opt for, maybe like a 1-2 split or something along those lines. Just because while this one does have Free Retreat, it can be taken out by Dragapult. So we'll see how comfortable we feel with that. But for now, I just have 3 of the Free Retreat ones. Then we have a 2/2 line of Natu and Xatu in here for its Clairvoyant Sense ability, which allows you to, once during your turn, attach a basic Psychic from your hand to one of your benched Pokemon. Doing so allows you to draw 2 cards. So another way to accelerate energy as well as draw. Then we got 1 copy Fezandipiti and 1 copy of Mew EX for both restart genome hacking and then flip the script on our Fez. So that's it for Pokemon. Let's move on to the trainers. For the trainers, to start us off, we got 1 copy of Countercatcher, 2 copies of Jacq to search for 2 evolution Pokemon, 2 copies of Morty's Conviction, which actually works really well with Tinkaton because you have to discard 1 card from your hand, and then you get to draw a card for each of your opponent's benched Pokemon. So sometimes this isn't very impactful, and sometimes you're going to be seeing up to 8 cards from Morty's Conviction. So really potentially powerful draw engine, so we can get those damage numbers up there with our Tinkaton. And then we got 2 copies of Nest Ball, 3 copies of Artazon. The reason we do play 3 copies is because when we use our Dunsparce, our Dunsparce's ability, we want to be able to find our Dunsparce right away. So obviously that kind of pairs hand in hand. We're going to go ahead and shuffle it back into the deck and then bring the basic out so we can just evolve it the next turn right away. So we got 3 copies of Artazon here. 1 copy of Boss's Orders, 3 copies of Iono for hand reset and disruption. We're going to try to avoid using Iono as much as possible because we want our hand to be big at all times, but obviously that sometimes isn't possible, so Iono is in there just to aid us along when needed. 1 copy of Professor Turo's Scenario, 2 copies of Great Ball. The reason we opt for the Great Ball is because Ultra Ball is going to be forcing us to discard cards from our hand, which we don't want with this deck. And we thin out our deck so quickly, the Great Balls typically are going to find us what we need. You may want to throw in 1 copy of Ultra Ball, or maybe even 2 if you'd rather play that way, to try and get your setup going. But I found that we're pretty comfortable just having the 2 Great Balls here. But you can definitely swap these for Ultra Balls if you see fit. Then we got 1 copy of Super Rod for Recovery, 4 copies Buddy-Buddy Poffin, 1 copy Earthen Vessel, 2 copies of Ciphermaniac's Codebreaking. Since we're doing so much drawing, guaranteeing what we top deck is really nice. Then we got 4 copies of Rare Candy. And that's it for all the trainers. That's all of them put together. Most of it is draw support or setup support, so pretty straightforward. And then for energy, we have 3 copies of Jet Energy, 2 copies of Reversal Energy. Our A-Spec is going to be Enriching Energy, and 3 Psychic. So the way this kind of works is you use your Psychic Energy paired with your Xatu to attach to a bench Tinkaton, and then you can Jet Energy it up for turn to push it to the active spot. Now your Enriching Energy is going to be used. You put that on a Dudunsparce to draw 4 cards, because Enriching Energy, when you play this card from your hand to one of your Pokemon, you get to draw 4. So obviously you're going to be attaching this to one of those Dudunsparces, and then you'll be able to shuffle the Dudunsparce and all cards attached back into the deck. So you're going to be able to recycle your A-Spec time and time again, really nicely for added draw support. And then we got 2 copies of Reversal Energy in here, because when they're attached, I'll click back over to them. When they're attached to an evolution non-rule box Pokemon, and you're behind in prize cards, it provides every energy type and 3 at a time. So that's going to allow us to use that special hammer whenever we feel like it. That's going to open us up to Super Psybolt and Land Crush, which we really hope we never have to use those, but primarily looking at that special hammer when we have to go in either with a single prizer to mess up our opponent's prize trade or something along those lines. You can also use Tinkatuff's Pulverizing Press really easily, but more than not, this is for that special hammer. And so that's the deck. That's the 60. We're going to hop ahead into some playtests here, and I hope you guys enjoy this Tinkaton deck. It has been tons of fun to make, so let's hop right on over there. All right, jumping ahead here into our playtest for Tinkaton EX. We do flip heads. Now, we do prefer going first with this deck, because it is going to be primarily an evolution deck. A lot of our stuff does see play at that stage 1, stage 2 kind of place. So opening up here, we'll go ahead. We can start the Tinkaton or Tinkatink in the active spot. We're okay with that. We see dark sleeves, so I'm curious. Might just be regular old Charizard, but we'll definitely take a look and see what my opponent plays out for us here. All right, it does look like it's going to be Charizard. Excuse me, bit of a yawn there. So not too worried about getting donked or anything like that. We're fine giving them Artazon, quite frankly. And we're going to use this for another Tinkatink. This way, using our Xatu this next turn, we're going to be able to target it. And I think we will just pass there, because we're gonna hold the energy. Going to be able to use Xatu's ability to see more cards, and then the Jet Energy to push it to the active. So sometimes it seems a little counterintuitive not playing energy versus playing energy and whatnot, but trust me, it does add up. So as long as we don't get Iono here, we're actually in a pretty comfortable spot. My opponent attaches to their active Pidgey to go for a Call for Family, so we're in a pretty nice position. You get Charmander and a Duskull. Okay, let's see what we can do here. A Morty's Conviction comes out. Alright. So, to get things going, let's go ahead. We'll pop our Artazon for another Dunsparce. We'll go ahead, Clairvoyant Sense onto our Tinkatink. Let us draw a few more cards. Now there's a Rare Candy, so we could get attacking right now. I think we'll go Jacq. We're going to try and do that. We'll grab one Dunsparce, and then one Tinkaton EX. Because not only are we going to get to see plenty more cards, let's see what we see first before we evolve. Another Rare Candy. So yeah, we'll go ahead, evolve the one on the bench here. Go ahead for that Jet Energy to bring it to the active. Which my opponent does have 4 cards in hand, but we're not too concerned. We're going to go ahead and burn this Buddy Poffin for that Dunsparce right back. And Big Hammer for a nice low 120, just starting things off slow. We got Rare Candy in hand. We got Morty's Conviction in hand. So we'll see what comes of this game. My opponent obviously has a full bench, so Morty's Conviction is going to let me see many cards. We just went for the Jacq this last turn to guarantee that we get the Tinkaton. My opponent Rare Candy's up into a Pidgeot. Evolves into a Charmeleon on the bench. So they may have Quick Search and Charizard to the active spot. Yep, that looks like what it's going to be. They're going to be accelerating some energy here and getting an attack off for 210. Because we have only taken one prize card here. Now, obviously, there is potential they could go Dusclops in some way, depending on what their last turn is. But they are just going to Burning Darkness for 2/10 here. Okay, so what are we thinking? We could just keep swinging with the active. I think that is actually what we're going to do. Let's go for a Morty's Conviction. We will discard the Xatu, because we already have ours established. And look at all those cards piling in. All right. Let's get the one Dunsparce down. Are we enriching energy this turn? I think we will. We'll see more cards here. What are we at? We're at 300 already. So we're going to go ahead, pop this Dunsparce. And just like that, we're going to be able to get a one-hit KO. Now, is there anything else that I want to do right now? I think we are going to establish another Tinkatink here. We'll Rare Candy the current one into the Gather Materials one. Now, since we played some cards, we are going to go down again. But that's okay, because we're going to go for another Dudunsparce. And that should get us there. And then we'll be able to Artazon for that... Yep, 360. We'll go ahead and pop the Artazon here. Get our Dunsparce back. And I think we're good to go on that front. We are going to go ahead and Vessel. I want to get some energy in play for our Xatu, from our Xatu here. So be able to smack the one. That way, in the event that we can't find a jet or whatever, we're still going to be comfortable. And now we're dealing more than enough damage. Smacking for 390 damage on our second turn. Very, very nice. Or not our second turn? Yeah, our second turn, because we did get to go first. Wait, how did they get Charizard? No, our third turn. Right? Now I'm confused. I've lost count. Yep, our third turn. Excuse me. My opponent is going to get another Charizard here. But we're okay. We're plenty far ahead in the prize trade. We have another Psychic in hand. That's another reason I love these Dunsparces. So my opponent does get knockout here. So as long as we can find a Rare Candy this turn, which as you've seen we have plenty of draw in the deck, as long as we haven't prized 2 of them. Opponent's going to select their prize cards, taking their first 2. Now, here's why I love these Dunsparces, is because they have free retreat. Now, the Dunsparce itself does shuffle them back into the deck, which will also get them out of the active spot. But if there is a... not Screamtail, the other one. We'll get rid of a Nest Ball here to gather materials. Still no Rare Candy. Now I'm growing a little concerned. We're not going to play that in because we want to be able to attack. Go ahead, toss that down. See some more. Enriching Energy, still no Rare Candy. Have we prized our final Rare Candy? Or our final 2 Rare Candies. There's one. Alright, so plenty of digging later. The game was kind of starting to scare me there. But we did eventually get there. And I'm sorry, but I cannot remember for the life of me what... Fluttermane, that's the one. Shuts off abilities of the active Pokemon. Oh my goodness, it took me a minute, but I got there. And yeah, right now we're dealing for 690 damage, so we're more than comfortable playing out some of the cards in this hand. And we're even going to have the opportunity to go Reversal Energy. Are there any of these cards that I'm too concerned about having? That I need any of these? 7 cards left in deck. I think we're just going to Jacq so we have the Dudunsparces in hand. And we'll go ahead and swing, I think. And then this next turn, if they get knockout on my Tinkaton, then we can go reversal energy onto the baby Tinkaton, and bosses orders up their Duskull. Now we could get Iono'd here, and that would not be ideal, obviously. But we have the gather materials Tinkaton to let us see more cards. Then we have whatever that lets us see use. So it kind of works out. I think Charizard hits for what, 330 when your opponent is down to one prize card? Or something like that. I guess we'll see in a second here. All I know is they have a 60 HP Duskull on the bench, so. And they're out of energy. They did not use a Super Rod, so they're going to go ahead and scoop. Regardless, we had a plan, even if they did get the knockout there, so. Got to display Tinkaton there in quite a solid way. Obviously, big hand constantly. We did not get hit with a single Iono that game, which was really, really nice, but we also were able to put our opponent up against the fence really quickly, so. Go ahead and hop into that next game here. Alright, let's get into our second playtest here for Tinkaton. See a water coin. Very interesting. Could this be Chen Pao, perhaps? My opponent does win the coin flip. And decides to go first, so not ideal for us. But we can definitely survive. Electric sleeves, water coin. Oh, if the game will let me do this, there we go. Okay, Hisuian Basculin. I'm very interested in what we are up against here. So I think we're probably going to end up going for Artazon, Dunsparce, and then we can Ciphermaniacs, say a Buddy Poffin. It's just going to be attached pass. Now, what do you even do? Only if you go second during your first turn, prevent all damage. Okay, so we're not too worried about that. We might not actually give our opponent the Artazon. We might just hold on to that. One Tinkaton is prized. So we're going to have to keep that in mind. So if we go Ciphermaniac for, let's say, Xatu. Would it be smarter to go to Dunsparce? Or I think we'll go Xatu and then Dudunsparce, because then we'll Enriching Energy into them and be able to guarantee that we can shuffle our Enriching back into the deck, if that makes sense. So see, plenty of cards there, and we're not going to give them the Artazon. So this next turn we have Xatu for that energy. We have the Dunsparce to shuffle back in and draw 3 more. And if we can't get a Rare Candy playoff, we have Tinkatuff in hand. So, and we get Iono'd out of all that. So fair enough play. My opponent saw that I used Ciphermaniacs and all of that. So, and they obviously didn't have a very live hand. We do get the Dunsparce anyway, and a Rare Candy. It's like a Ceruledge type deck. Ceruledge, Hisuian Basculin, and Dusclops. A Jet Energy. Okay. Well, we're going to go ahead and see some more cards real quick here. Alright. Unfortunately, we don't have a way to find ourselves our Tinkaton this turn, nor our Xatu. Ahead. Is it just another Dunsparce, and then we bunch a Tinkaton, or Tinkatink? We also prized one Natu, so. Smack that on the bench. And then because we did prize a Natu, we are actually going to start establishing energy right now. It looks like we also prized one Psychic. So we'll go ahead and just attach to one of the benched Tinkatinks and pass it on over. So obviously last game was really nice. A lot of things came together really well. We got to start drawing right away. This game we got Iono'd out of that. But that's just how it goes sometimes. A lot of decks are playing a lot of Ionos lately. Grab Buddy Poffin, and their A-Spec is going to be the Hero's Cape. And there's Goldangos. Okay. Goldango, Saraledge, Dusclops, and Hisuian Basculin. They're going to attach to the active and go for a bite. So it looks like my opponent isn't having a very good time either. And we have Ciphermaniacs, but no way to draw right now. Not the best supporter to be looking for, but we can guarantee ourselves. We'll go Xatu. Well, no, we'll go Dunsparce and Tinkaton EX, I think, is what we'll put on top here. And then we can attach to this Tinkatink, because that way they can't boss KO one of them. We have Jet Energy in hand, and we have Rare Candy in hand, so we'll be able to use probably Fezandipiti. I don't know if they're just going to go for another bite, but they're just going to go for another bite. All right. Interesting. And I'm very curious. I want to see what this person's deck is. But they're not having any better of time than us. We're just going to be able to get nice and set up here. Let's go ahead, Rare Candy here. And with only 3 cards in hand and having as hard a time as they are, I don't think I should be too concerned about them getting a 300 damage response here. And there's our other Natu. I could have held off on benching the Fez there. Quite frankly, I'm not sure why I did. just felt appropriate, but it definitely wasn't. I should have held on to that Fez. They're going to boss. Are they really going to boss KO Natu? Going for a corkscrew punch, maybe? No, they're just going to call for family. I was going to say, surely they don't want the Natu dead that badly. So it looks like they're just trying to slow us down a little bit here, which is to be expected. And it's definitely going to work, because we're not really getting any luck getting our draws online here. Would it be worth it? I mean, my opponent only has 3 cards in hand. I think it would. So we're just going to use this reversal energy to retreat and get a knockout. And just keep things going. I mean, there's no point in straying away from these single prize knockouts when my opponent is unable. There's a Morty's Conviction. So now we're going to get to see some cards. There we go. My opponent doesn't have any 2 prizes in play other than that Latias they just put out, so taking that 1 prize knockout is going to actually even out this prize trade for us. They get a Dusclops on the bench. Question is, are they going to target anything with it, or are they going to hold on to it for a little while? I would prefer for them to hold on to it. That's going to give us more targets for Morty's Conviction, and there we go. So we get our draw for turn. Going to Morty's Conviction. Discarding probably Artazon. My opponent's having a pretty tough time. Or should it be Tinkatuff? I think we'll discard Tinkatuff. Well, no. We're at the point in the game that we don't really need Xatu. We're going to go ahead and go there. Let's go Rare Candy this Tinkaton. Gather materials, get rid of Tinkatuff, now that we won't need that for a while. Draw some more cards. We actually are going to evolve here, because that's going to put us outside of Dusclops range. And go ahead and just Big Hammer. So obviously my opponent is having a really slow game. We're having a really slow game as well, just because of that early Iono that kind of put us at a halt. But thankfully we're able to repair while my opponent hasn't been able to. There's the Dusk Noir. Let's see what they target down. One nice thing about Tinkaton, the non-EX, is that it has exactly 140 health, which is going to survive on 10 from Dusk Noir blasts. And they're just going to blow up the active, trying to etch into it. Unfortunately, really not going to get much out of our opponent here. I'll probably still leave this in the video, just because even though it wasn't very entertaining, you did get to see me kind of set up despite having a lot slowing us down. Hero's Cape. Alright, 310. 310. We're at 270, so there we go. We get there. We're just like that. They can smack Hero's Cape on anything, but we can just hit those numbers. What are we at? There's 330. That's game. I mean, this card has been around for a very long time. We'll just call it there. That was a slower battle. Obviously, Tinkaton's been around for quite some time. People, at least as far as I've known, wish it was able to become a nice deck. And, I mean, I'm kind of happy with what I've done here. I really like this deck. I hope you guys do too. I definitely would urge you to give it a shot. I mean, it is a post-rotation list. And it will only be getting stronger because the one-off inclusion of Lily's Clefairy is going to fix a lot of dangers in things like Dragapult, where they're going to be damaging your bench Dunsparces and stuff. So, and then also Raging Bolt that sets up really, really fast, especially if you can't get those rare candies off due to Budu. That's going to help that matchup as well, because Raging Bolt can just really outspeed this deck sometimes. So I'm very interested to see where this list goes, and I don't foresee it becoming competitive, but I feel like there's potential here. So I hope you all had a wonderful time watching. Comment down below what kind of decks you guys want to see next, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace out.